Hi everybody, this is Cheryl Isbell coming to you for Fraud Tip Friday, and today is April 3rd of 2020. And I wanted to continue our theme of giving fraud tips for individuals, so we'll do that, and I have a couple other things to talk about beyond that today. So the first fraud tip that I have for all of you today is to let you know that now that the stimulus package has been passed and we know that we're going to be getting money as individuals, if you filed as single, you should get up to $1,200. If you filed as a joint return, then you should get up to $2,400. There's limitations on income on that, and you can go to the IRS.gov website to get further information if you want to know exactly how much your stimulus check is going to be for. But the fraud tip that I have for you related to that is to let you know that the IRS is not going to call you and ask you for your personal or your banking information. They do not ever do that. So if you get a phone call or even an email from the IRS asking you for your personal details or your banking information, please understand that phone call or that email is not from the IRS. So just be cautious about that. Be wary. The second fraud tip that I have for you is related to emails as well. So fraud, again, is on the rise, and you may be getting emails requesting that you make a donation or that you purchase something related to the coronavirus. So if someone sends you an email and asks you for a donation, please be very cautious. Do not click on that link if you're viewing the email on a phone or a tablet. Don't click the link. Look at it on your computer and take your mouse and hover over the link and make sure that it's going where it says it's going to. So if it's some Red Cross link, for example, make sure when you hover over the link that it actually says it's taking you to the Red Cross. And really, probably the best thing that you can do is ignore the link in the email and just Google the Red Cross and go to their website directly from there, or whatever charity is asking for a donation. Don't click on links. Just be very cautious. People who set up these phishing scams are very tricky about what they do. They're very good at it. They've been doing it a long time, and they make it look very legitimate. So just be careful about that. My dog has joined me today. And the same thing with people that are sending you emails or giving you information that says, maybe they'll text you or call you, saying that they have products that will cure the coronavirus, whatever kind of product it is. There is no cure that someone is going to call you up and try to sell you, period. There is not. So do not fall for those schemes. Just be very cautious about it, okay? The other thing I wanted to tell you is that you really need to monitor your bank and your credit card accounts. So if you're not checking those daily, you really should be. It's one of the first things I do when I get into my office every morning is I check my bank accounts and my credit cards information online to make sure that no fraudulent charges have been placed on my accounts. Just be especially diligent about that right now because there is a lot of fraud going on. And if you haven't already signed up for antivirus type thing on your computer, I highly recommend that you do that. Something like McAfee or Norton, I think they have a Norton 360 package, anything like that, so that they can check your emails for fraud. And a lot of those companies will also check websites before you go on to them. So that's a really good idea to have in place if you don't already have that on your computer. And consider getting something like ID Shield or LifeLock, any of those, where they will help monitor your credit for you and monitor your accounts. And sometimes those are linked together with computer monitoring as well. So the last thing I wanted to talk to individuals about was the checks or direct deposits that are going to be coming related to the stimulus package. The IRS has announced that they expect the direct deposits to begin around April 13th, and it's going to be a couple more weeks after that before they start mailing checks. And they expect the checks, just because of the sheer volume of checks that will need to go out, the checks themselves, paper checks, will take up to 20 weeks or more for them to get those issued. So if you do not have direct deposit information on file, the IRS is working right now on a web portal so that you can enter your direct deposit information, and they will make an announcement, and I'll let you know as soon as that is up and running, so that if you don't have direct deposit information on your 2018 or 2019 tax returns, that you can enter that information to get your stimulus check hopefully a little sooner, because the paper checks are going to take a long time. Anybody that doesn't have to file a return, for example, someone that's elderly and the only thing they receive is Social Security and it's not taxable because of the tax bracket they fit into, will also be able to log on to that web portal. They don't have to go in and file a return in order to get the stimulus package. The IRS is working with Social Security and Railroad Retirement as well for the stimulus package to make sure that everybody's covered with that. So I did want to mention a couple things for small businesses. First and foremost, our free mini course is up and running. So please log on to our website at premierfraudprevention.com and go ahead and take a look at that. It shouldn't take you more than an hour to go through the entire course. It's got a lot of really good information to help you protect your business and stay safe during this period and for a long time after that. So there's really useful information to help you prevent employee fraud and help you to improve the structures of your business that can increase the value of your business. In addition to that, the CARES Act for small businesses has a few things that I did want to mention to you. They have, if you have a small business administration loan, SBA loan, then 6 months of payments are being waived. You won't have to make those payments, and you're never going to have to make those payments. They're waiving 6 months of payments. There's also, that's for small businesses with less than 500 employees. If you have one of those loans, those payments are being waived. There's also an emergency grant for that you can apply for, and for that you go directly onto the Small Business Association or Small Business Administration website, and that's sba.gov, and there's, right as soon as you pull up the page, you'll see information about that, and just click the link. The application takes less than 5 minutes. In addition to that, small businesses with employees that have less than 500 employees, and there are a couple of exceptions to that that could have more potentially, but in general, if you have less than 500 employees and you're a small business, today is the day that you can go through your bank and get the SBA loan related to the CARE Act. And you can get up to 2.5 times your payroll expense. There's some caveats in that. You can't have, it's not going to qualify, or you're not going to be able to pay 100% of someone that you pay more than $100,000 a year to. But go to your lender and see if they are an SBA approved lender, and if they are, go ahead and make that application, submit the application. It's a very short application. There's no personal guarantee. You do not have to put up any collateral. There may be some documents that you need to provide, but it's going to be very limited. And a lot of that can be, if not all of it, can be forgiven. And one added benefit of that, if you spend up to, well, if you spend at least 75% on payroll, then that will be forgiven and you'll still have the payroll expense. So for example, if you pay $100,000 over the period, the 8-week period that they are asking you to spend it on, let's say you spend $100,000, you received $100,000, so your net out of pocket is really zero because the government gave you that money. But then when you come to file your taxes right now, you'll still be able to deduct the $100,000 you spent on payroll, even though they've already paid you $100,000. So they may fix that going forward, but for right now, that's what it looks like. There's nothing in the code that states that you can't take that deduction on your taxes for 2020. So that's a really good deal too. If you haven't applied for that, like I said, the applications, they started taking them today, April 3rd. So go ahead and submit that application. Now, if you are a sole proprietor and you have no employees, or if you're an independent contractor, you still qualify to apply for these loans. So go ahead and go on to the sba.gov website and make your application for the emergency funding. And then starting April 13th, you will be able to submit an application through your lender. Now, if you contact your lender and they are not an SBA approved lender, if they don't do SBA loans, then ask them to give you a list or connect you with a lender who does. I know that, for example, Chase is requiring that you had a checking account with them no later than February 15th of this year in order to use them as an SBA lender to go and get this loan. So just check around, go to the bank that you have a personal relationship with first, and if they can't do it for you, then ask them if they know a bank that will. So I'm checking my notes here to see if there's anything else. There is new information and regulations coming out every single day about this. The law that was passed, the CARES Act that was passed, it left a lot of room for interpretation. So the Treasury Department and the IRS specifically are coming out with new regulations to try and help companies implement this as quickly as possible. And I think that is all I have for today. So if you have any questions or concerns, please leave a comment, direct message us. We're here to help you as much as we can. I do recommend, if you're a small business owner, that you talk to your tax preparer about once you get the loan, what to do and how to do it, because you want to be able to maximize the benefit, and how you spend that money is going to make a difference. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and it's always so much fun to get on and talk to you about Fraud Tip Friday. So here's my little Chewy dog and I sequestered in the house. She's sad today because it's really cold and a little damp outside, so she hasn't really been out much. But we're hoping that everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.